First up tonight, $114 billion. Let me repeat that, $114 billion. That's the figure reported today on the impact of coronavirus on the mental health in Australia over the next 5 years. Now, a submission by the University of Sydney's Professor Ian Hickey, a regular on this show who we'll have on tonight, he tells the government and he spells out to the government the enormous mental health toll of this pandemic. He calls for an urgent $2.2 billion boost to community-based mental health services, and this is likely to be met in the upcoming federal budget. Now, Professor Hickey estimates 23,000 people alone will need help at hospital emergency departments in coming years, a frightening statistic. He also says over the next 5 years, the additional cost of those suffering heightened psychological distress who remain employed but at reduced productivity is likely to impact about $11 billion. Now, Victoria will be the hardest state hit as business people go to the wall because of strict lockdown procedures. Investing in mental health, says Professor Hickey, creates wealth. Not investing in mental health will cost lives and economic potential. Now, for many months now, we've interviewed dozens of people on this show who have chronicled the distress and despair of people, particularly in the regions, who are doing it tough. People who haven't seen a COVID case in more than 100 days, or at all for that matter, who've been forced to close their business. They're left wondering, why? Why me? What has this government got against me? And therein lies the ongoing problem for this country. Long after Daniel Andrews is gone, long after Anastasia Palaszczuk is gone, long after Scott Morrison is gone, there will be a gaping economic sore to fix in this country. And the cavalier and brazen way our political leaders have brushed aside their policy faults during this pandemic is astonishing as it is morally bankrupt. The fact that our leaders haven't grasped the real narrative here, that as we crush the curve on cases, we also need to reinvigorate our communities and businesses, is astonishing. Tourism, as I said last night, is totally, utterly devastated. It'll take a decade at least to get back to where it was. And I genuinely believe that the real second wave in this country will be people spiralling into depression. Good people who have worked all their lives, who through no fault of their own have been thrown on the fiscal scrap heap. Now, it's clear that when JobKeeper ends in March next year, there will be two classes in this country. There will be those who have survived and are able to carry on, and there'll be those who have lost their homes and their livelihoods because of this pandemic and the lockdown rules and border closures that have sent them into economic oblivion. Most Australians are proud, independent people who want to work and contribute to a country that offers up so much to those who have a crack. But this pandemic has exposed the policy shortcomings of many of our leaders who have done thousands of Aussie businesses no favours, by imposing draconian, unrealistic and frankly dumb policy on its constituents. It's incumbent upon us as Australians to be resilient, to be strong, and we're going to have to help our families and we're going to have to help our mates through the next few years. Buy locally, buy Australian and be kind. It will be a difficult period indeed for all of us.